Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Tempe, Arizona, Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, Cincinnati, Lexington, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. Don't go anywhere else. Now, I wanted to ask you that what originally got me in contact with you was there's been some research out there now about our cellular phones being bad for us, 5G being bad for us. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, that's one of the mitochondrial poisons. It's the third one. The first is the seed oil. Second would be the estrogen receptor activators like estrogen itself or plastics. And the fourth is the endotoxins. And the third one is EMF.
EMF. What does EMF stand for?
Electromagnetic frequencies. That describes all of them, because even sunlight is an EMF. It's a visible light is an EMF. But when you go to the higher frequencies, which is where the cell phone radiations and Wi-Fi and microwaves into the gigahertz range, and actually above that would be X-ray. Now here's the difference. The same people, the same strategy were used to greenwash tobacco and diminish the impact of its dangers were used by the telecommunications industry in the last quarter century to pass legislation, the 1996 Telecommunications Act, that essentially immunized them from any protection. Just like the drug companies, Pfizer and Moderna, got immunized against any liability from the vaccines they produced that were killing people.
Right.
So it's the same thing. So they confused people by making them believe that the EMFs are not dangerous because it's not ionizing radiation. Ionizing radiation would be like X-rays, and everyone knows they're damaging. They can directly damage your cells and your tissues and mitochondria because the ionization causes a release of free radicals. And they're claiming that there's no ionizing radiation in cellular cell phones or Wi-Fi. And they are true. There is not, but they cause the damage from another mechanism. It's called non-thermal. See, they say that it doesn't heat up your tissues, so there's no thermal effects, and they measure temperatures and they can prove it. But that they never disclose that there's another mechanism that causes the damage. And it's a poison, just like they use the tobacco industries. It's sort of an interesting, the tobacco industry playbook to get these out in the public and make enormous amounts of money from them. They similarly tobacco. And I actually wrote a whole book on this. I mean, there's a chapter in your Guide to Cellular Energy, but I wrote a whole book right before COVID. Actually, came out the month that COVID came out. It was in 2019, I think. It was right around the same time, and it was called EMF'd, and it goes into all the details in comparison with the cell phone industry. And this non-thermal radiation, it causes, see, all these mitochondrial poisons, they work the same way. There's about 50,000 times more calcium ions outside your cell, just like there's more sodium outside your cell than potassium. It's not supposed to be inside the cell in high amounts, but it does come in. It comes in through these receptors, the receptor channels. And every one of those mitochondrial poisons causes calcium to come inside the cell at a high level, which catalyzes a combination of different free radicals to make an even worse free radical. And that's the free radical that causes all the damage. And they all work the same way. So it's not direct effect from the ionizing radiation, it's an indirect effect. And people will die just like cigarettes. They don't die in a year, 2 years, 10 years even, but put them on it for decades, and every one of them will have some adverse effect.
So, so you're saying for so just from your cell phone, you're getting some kind of what?
Oh my gosh, yes.
What's the term for it? EMF?
EMF, yeah. That's the generic term that's used to describe all those frequencies.
So you're getting EMFs from your phone.
You're getting EMF'd. You're getting EMF'd.
You're getting EMF'd, and that screws up your mitochondria, which allows more calcium to come inside your cell, and that's bad.
Yes, too much of anything is not good. But certainly calcium inside your cells.
So how did you find this? So how did you find this out about the cell phones, and what should we do with our cell phones?
That's a great question. I think eventually I will be doing some work in the not too distant future to mitigate against that damage, because there's some way you can modulate the frequencies to make them less pernicious. But until that is done, you never want to sleep with your cell phone on in your bedroom and on your nightstand. That's about one of the worst things you can do because you have to have really low. In fact, I developed a tent. It's called the EMF shield that you can go in. And I sleep, even though I have a very low EMF environment because I've got put shielded rooms and everything, I still sleep in my tent every night. So there's almost no radiation in that tent. And it's a relatively inexpensive way to get a simple thing because so turn your cell phone off or in airplane mode, only use it when you need to. And then when you go to sleep, the other source is in your house. It's not the cell phone towers outside. It's the cell phone tower inside your house, which is the Wi-Fi
so you should turn
router.
I've read about this, that's been proven now that your Wi-Fi in your house, not healthy for you, and that you should turn it off when you go to sleep. Is that true?
100%. Yes. I don't have Wi-Fi router in my house. I use an alternative called Ethernet cables. I've been passionate about tech for over 50 years. In 1968, I took my first computer programming class, and one of the other books, I'm writing The Sugar Cure, but I'm also writing another book called The Tyranny of Convenience, which is the updated of EMF. Because what you're doing, people are exchanging convenience for their health. That's what they're doing. Because it's easy. The Wi-Fi is so simple, so convenient.
But Wi-Fi is everywhere. Everywhere you go.
100%. Yes. Yes. And the bigger cities you are, the worse it is.
Yeah. I mean, Wi-Fi.
More dense.
I mean, they want to have. There's lots of people who consider themselves, progressive and lefties, and they want to make Wi-Fi free for a whole city, and so the whole city would be covered by Wi-Fi. And you're saying this is not good.
It's a prescription for disaster, unmitigated disaster. Now, unless they modify and modulate the signal in some way so it doesn't cause biological damage. Right now, it is quite significant. But it's not acute. It's chronic exposure. Just like smoking doesn't kill you in a day or a month. It takes long-term exposure to do it.
So do you know anything about Bobby Kennedy just won a lawsuit against the FCC saying that they weren't being truthful about the effects of cell phone on people? Did you anything about that?
I'm good friends with Bobby. I've got his cell phone number and talk to him regularly. But I was not aware of that. I'm focusing on a few other things. I'd missed that in the media.
Okay, I heard him mention that. I haven't looked into it, but I heard him said he
probably did. Yeah.
So what should I do? Turn your cell phone off at night, unplug your Wi-Fi at night. And then
sometimes you can even, if you know your bedtime, you can put in a timer, so that it goes off at certain times. You don't even have to think about it. It's automated, right?
But my home security runs on my Wi-Fi. So I should change that.
You should change it. There's alternative ways to do that too. No, actually, you're talking about the sensors, right? It's not the security, because they should hard code that. They can easily hard code that.
Okay.
There's alternatives, Jimmy.
Okay. So let me. So everybody, I just wanted to let everybody know about this book, Your Guide to Cellular Health, Unlocking the Science of Longevity and Joy. And you predict. So you've already written many bestsellers. You predict this will be your most important book, your most popular book.
One of the most important books ever written. People value their health, and it's available now for pre-sale. As I said, it's the #1 pre-sale book on Amazon right now.
Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Tempe, Arizona, Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Dayton, Ohio, Cincinnati, Lexington, Burbank, California, and Honolulu. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for those tickets. Don't go anywhere else.